And we're live. We are live.
So live.
Here from Studio A, the DNVR Bar. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the DNVR show, DNVR Nuggets Podcast. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Make sure to use the code DNVR when you sign up and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. We got a heck of a show coming.
Oh.
I mean, a heck of a show. You're going to want to stick around for the ad break. The first ad break in particular. We've got a special guest coming on
cameo
specifically for the ad break.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Can't believe we got John Elway to do an ad read. That's
crazy.
You can probably guess it by just knowing who our sponsors are.
Well,
yeah. We got a lot to go over today. We got a big mailbag episode for you guys. We asked, you answered a ton of great mailbag questions that we will get to. Let me introduce the panel. I'm Harrison Wynn. To my right, it's Eric Wedum.
that's right, guys. I'm here. I don't have a computer. I feel oddly naked.
I was going to say naked. Yeah.
You look naked too,
I
which
know.
is the strangest
Well,
part.
also,
You're not
like
wearing the sweatshirt.
I am also wearing a camouflage sweatshirt that kind of makes it look as though my body is not here.
Yeah.
I look like a floating head with no connection to the internet. I feel terrible.
You're not online right now. Not online.
I know.
at
I'm
all.
offline with D-Line.
Yeah. Also joined by Brendan Vogt.
Chat. It's going to be a great show, and I know that.
How does the chat know?
Because the boss isn't here, and when there are no parents, there are no rules, and when there are no rules, there are no inhibitions, and when there are no inhibitions, Dwayne, there are no obstacles between you and a banger of an episode.
Finally, the obstacle that is Adam Mares is taken
Out of the way.
No, we can finally have a banger of a show.
Where
But
would
my
we be
question is,
without
how does
him?
the chat know that its back isn't changed?
You alluded to, and you knew that they would know.
I
You
just
said you could probably guess.
I just said we have a lot of ad sponsors.
Yeah, he's right. It was their first guess.
The IV place. It could be the Colorado Raptors, American Raptors.
They'll be here tonight.
They will be here later tonight.
That's actually true.
So
man.
stick around in about 10 minutes. Special guest popping on the show. Like I said, we do have a lot of mailbag questions that we can get to. We've also got some topical news to go around the association a little later if we want to. Should we just get right into the mailbag? I mean, unless you guys
dude, let's
have
dig
anything.
in, dude. Let's dig in.
All right,
Let's
let's
get
get
into it.
right into the mailbag. Of course we knew. Of course. Everybody just knows. Can you make that a little bigger, Kale? Thank you. This comes from Matthew Kimura. Calvin Booth once hinted that Zeke is a 4 out of 5. Is it possible that we might see a Zeke Thomas Bryant lineup in the future that can work? I'll let you guys take this one first.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it, man.
I don't
To
either.
me, Zeke is a 4, but he's a 5. He's become a 5. He's our small 5. The great thing about adding Zeke into the lineup is that every position then becomes switchable. It like kind of unlocks what all of the perimeter defense is doing. Thomas Bryant doesn't have that. Like he doesn't bring that to the table, and that's the strength of the second unit in the last game. The only time we've seen them be successful is their ability to switch. So I mean I don't see it, but I don't. What do you guys think?
I don't see it either. Like I think Zeke is a 4. Like
agree.
that's at his best, but with this current configuration of the team, like what that bench unit needs, he can play the 5. But I just don't know if Thomas Bryant is going to be any good. Like I think that might be what it comes down to.
There's an irony to it in that it's really what they've tried the least with Zeke, though. We've seen him as a 3. We've seen him as a 5. I agree that he is a 4. But I think Eric hit the nail on the head that you kind of lose the main benefit. Like Zeke pushes you closer to an identity, switchable, defend, score in transition, that Thomas Bryant kind of undermines. So I don't know if it necessarily makes sense.
Dude, yeah, to me it's like it's one or the other, right? Like there's no sense in having Zeke on the floor if instead of Vlatko or Jeff Green.
Yeah.
It's more like if you run into a unit that has a big backup 5 that is too big for Zeke, then it's like, all right, you can bring Thomas Bryant in or DeAndre Jordan, frankly, to just like be a big body in the middle. But like, I have a hard time imagining them together. But who knows? Like we're in exploration season.
Well, that's right.
We're
exploring our game.
We're exploring our rotations.
exploring the
I do
rotations.
think I will say this for Zeke. I like what he's giving Denver, so I hope he stays in Denver. But he needs to get himself to a situation where he can play the 4 more. He's like sneaky far into his career for how little he's gotten to show, I think. So I'm not saying like he should demand a trade or anything, but at
where'd that come from?
at some point in his career, I would guess that he would like to be playing the 4. And at some point, you want to start figuring out what he's got, what the floor and the ceiling is on Zeke.
Well, he'll be entering the last year of his contract next year. So,
Yeah.
All I know
put
is
up or shut
that
up
he
time.
looks good. As
Oh,
a
I
5.
love the Zeke Najee
gets the right call,
man.
yeah.
This is a great storyline, like, at this point in the season.
Truly.
I love getting Zeke back in the mix. I was going to say I'm glad he's healthy, but, like, I'm sure the shoulder's still bothering him, at times. Like, I don't know if it's fully healed.
Right.
But I'm glad he's playing. I think he gives Nuggets a nice dynamic off the bench. It's something they haven't had
I agree.
for a while. Let's move on here. I think we have one more question on the bench to get to right after that. Is the bench unit set for the playoff with Zeke's return, or will Malone continue to tinker right up to the end? Do we have a set bench right now?
I would say no.
Are we set in stone on the
Actually-
second unit?
I think there's really only one question mark.
We've said it a bunch. It's the 4.
It's the 4. But I think, like Reggie played in that last game, that's because Christian Brown was in foul trouble.
Yeah.
I think they have settled on Reggie's not playing.
Yeah, I think Reggie's out of the rotation.
So Bruce Brown, KCP, maybe it's Jamal in there instead, and then CB, and then Zeke. And the real question, I guess, would be Jeffrey Vlaco. And I think we're all on the same page about that one.
Yeah, we are. I mean, only 10 games left, though. Like, I wonder if they're going to get back to Vlatko. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, the bench is not good enough to be set.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like we haven't
Right.
we haven't been like, well, like the starters are set.
Yes.
We know who the best 5 players on the court are. We don't know what the best combination of players is for the bench. We've seen and honestly, I think it's kind of matchup dependent in a lot of ways. But if we were just saying like the starting unit and the bench unit, like I don't personally feel like we found the best combination. We've hit this now 1 million times.
I mean, we've hit it so much because it's really the only thing left to figure out about this team, I feel like.
Yeah. It's the biggest question, I would say.
It's the only thing left, and it's our absolute biggest Achilles heel.
Yeah,
Do you-
absolutely.
Do you guys think there's any chance that they get to a 2-man stagger, AG as the backup big?
In the playoffs, of course.
And then in that case, was it a waste not going to it in the regular season? Or were they trying to keep him healthy?
Yeah.
Just kind of thinking out loud about
Well,
it.
so my feeling on this is that your bench unit is for the regular season, and then your starters are for the playoffs, and you get as much run as you can out of each one of these guys in the playoffs, and then you find like a good way to get them enough time to rest, but like understand that everything's on the line, obviously in the playoffs. So you play your best guys, but. To me, it's like once you get to the playoffs, you stagger 3 guys. Like
Oh, yeah. In the playoffs, you're playing 3 guys really off your bench, real minutes.
Yeah.
And then maybe there's a 9th guy who plays like 2 minutes.
Right.
The Shaq Harrison minutes from a couple years ago.
Yeah,
that's your 9th man.
Austin Rivers minutes.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. What else do we got here? From Buckets, our guy. If Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray continue playing at the level they are right now, can the Nuggets still win the West?
I mean, Jamal Murray was awesome.
Jamal Murray's coming off a good game. Absolutely.
He was awesome last game. AG has not been great. To me, and you guys jump in, obviously. To me, it's like it's all about the big 3, right? It's all about Jamal, MPJ, and Jokic. And then whatever you can get out of Gordon. He had like really great moments earlier in the year, but that was because we weren't getting, when we were missing MPJ or Jamal Murray was out, like he became the de facto number 2. But I mean, really, he's the number 4 option, right? So how much do you need that?
I think the last handful of games, he started coloring outside the lines a little bit, taking some of those shots that we all hated initially that he's really, cut down on. Maybe the 3-point shot, which is looking pretty unreliable right now. But for the most part, man, he's just hanging out in the dunker spot, and that works. And if Porter's going to take on a scoring load like this, you're probably okay with AG just playing that role. You'd like to see a little more from him defensively. I expect to in the playoffs. I would say it's probably more about Jamal. But again, you've also seen Jamal play at a high level in the playoffs. So
yeah, you need them both playing at a high level. I think it's more about Jamal, though, because I think teams are going to make Jamal Murray beat them in the playoffs. Right. You're going to see a lot of the same defensive schemes in the playoffs that you've seen the last couple weeks of the regular season. Just so much attention on Nikola Jokic. And like Jamal Murray is going to need to have some quarters like he just had in Brooklyn, where he has 20 points in the first quarter.
Right. Yeah.
Like teams are going to make Jamal Murray hit shots.
But here's the thing: is that Jamal Murray does that every playoff appearance he's had.
And that's why you can trust him
far and above what we need out of him. In fact, the last time we saw him in the playoffs, he was better than Michael Jordan.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
He was good.
Like, so many people have asked me over the last several weeks when it's looked like Jamal Murray's a little banged up. Like, can you trust Jamal in the playoffs? How do you feel about Jamal in the playoffs? And a lot of me comes back to the fact that I trust this guy as a big game player. He always seems to show up in the big moments when they matter. And I feel like you've just got to go with that line of thinking above all else when it goes with Jamal Murray and heading into the postseason. I just feel like you've got to trust his track record in big moments.
Yep, you have to.
They also have a lot of reps together, man, he and Jokic, in the playoffs, in game sevens, high leverage games. You know, we've seen them go through those early growing pains of what does this look like when everything gets really tight. And I think there's a lot more to be asked from him in terms of production. But as far as will the moment swallow him up, it's like a damn near 0%.
Yeah, dude. Come on. I mean, we've seen for all of Jamal Murray's inconsistencies throughout his entire career, that is what has colored his entire career. The one thing you can always count on him to do is to deliver in the biggest moments in the playoffs. He's done that absolutely every time he's been asked. So I hope they dare Jamal Murray to beat them, and then he beats them.
Yeah. We got a lot more questions to get to. Let's hit our first break, though. And we're at the first break. I want to welcome on a very special guest. He's actually coming on during his scheduled ad read. Kyle Backus.
Let's go.
Of Backus and Shanker. There he is.
There he is. Dude. Look at this. Represented small and big.
There
Unbelievable.
He is, man.
What is up, guys?
What is up, everybody?
Happy to have you here.
Thank you. Listen, let me tell you, you guys are unbelievable.
Hey,
what you guys
you're
are doing,
unbelievable,
what
man.
you guys are doing is incredible. I appreciate it. Love what you do. I'm so happy to be here. Excited to come down to your house. I mean, look at this.
We spend more time here than our actual house.
This is our flop house.
Well, it's incredible. And let me tell you, I'm so honored to be part of the Denver community, to part of the Denver sporting community.
Let's go.
And above and all, part of the Denver sporting community.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's go.
And so let me tell you, this is the first year. I think you guys know this. I've said it before. We have never advertised on any podcast.
That's amazing.
And here's the deal. This, of all places, is where we needed to be.
Yes.
And we're so happy that you would have us, and we're so, we're an integral part of the Denver community. We've been here for more than 25 years. We got 30 lawyers. We got 100 people who work for us, all, in this Denver, Colorado area, all huge sports fans, all big Denver sports fans. And we really appreciate all you're doing.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
You see the chat?
The chat's loving you, by the way.
What's up?
Yeah, we've been having this debate on the show, and the people who are in the comments, our viewers, have been just arguing and weighing in. I asked you this when we were just down there.
Yeah.
Are you Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray?
Of the Backus and Shanker team.
One of you has to be Nikola. One of you has to be Jamal.
To me, it's an easy answer. Okay.
All right. Hold
Jokic is me.
Oh,
now,
let's go.
Not in stature.
Back-to-back MVP
not in
over
stature.
here.
Shanker's a big guy.
Okay.
Shanker's like
All right.
6'4", 230 pounds. He's a big guy. However, like master of the court. You know what I mean? So he can be out there hitting some of those long shots.
Yeah.
But the guy in control, you're looking at him. Just kidding. He's probably not listening. Just kidding, Darren, if you are. But
that makes him most of Denver.
Yeah.
there you go.
I mean, are you a big Nuggets fan?
I am a big Nuggets fan.
Nice.
Absolutely.
What do you think of this team?
Well, I think this is the year. I mean,
Nice.
I'm hoping this is the year. Of all of the years I was disappointed in some of the trade action that occurred in the NBA that made the run in the Western Conference a tougher call for the Nugs. But I think like they've got the tools. What excuse do they have if they go out early this year?
They got Backus running the show over there.
I mean, we've been talking about it all year. Like, they don't have any excuses. They've got all the pieces to get it done. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would say that the Avs have taken care of business.
Yes.
It's nice to see the Ball Arena, right?
Oh, it's been great this year.
Nice
been popping.
nice to see what's been happening
The
over
crowds
there.
have been awesome this year,
And I'm really, I'm hopeful about our Rockies. I think we're all hopeful. We all enjoy the Rockies until the end of May.
Sure.
I think that's the right way to put it.
Move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, thanks for coming
Hey,
on.
man,
You
thank
can
you
hang
for
out
having
if you
me.
want. You
No,
can
that's
talk
okay.
Nuggets with us.
I got to
if you
go. I
want.
got some cases to go work on.
Okay.
But I appreciate
Quick
it very
question.
much.
Quick question.
Yes.
What is your phone number?
My phone number, listen, if you don't know my phone number, hopefully you do, 303-222-2222.
The easiest number in Denver to remember.
Here's what we say.
Maybe in the world.
Just dial the twos, baby.
Yeah.
Just
All
dial
right?
the
All right.
Mash the number two. Mash the number two.
All right, guys. Very nice to see you. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you so much for coming on. Good to
Greatest
meet
ad
you.
read of all time.
Yeah, that
Let's
was the
go.
greatest ad read of all time. That is Backus from
Backus in
and
the club.
Schenker.
Oh, we got some fire emojis. Backus in the club.
The chat's loving
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah.
man.
Also, make sure to check out Shady Rays. We all got hooked up with pairs of Shady Rays a couple weeks ago. We love them. Right in time for summer. They have a location at Park Meadows Mall. You can also visit them online as well. This is just for our listeners. Shady Rays is giving out the best deals of the new year. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code DNVR, or visit them in store. 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Shady Rays, check them out today. All our other advertisers are going to be jealous now.
Yeah, dude. In the comments, Frank Azar shaking watching this.
I've never once heard him on a podcast.
Yeah,
I think that guy is done, man. Like,
Yeah,
he's
dude.
past his prime.
The weak arm.
It's the Backus and Schenker era.
Dude, yeah, dude. Denver is Backus and Schenker territory. Everybody knows that.
Oh, that was unbelievable. All right. Well, we're back here on the DNBA show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Let's keep going with this mailbag.
I gotta say, just quickly, like, if you want to understand, like, what DNVR is, like, that's the great, like, that's amazing. We just had Backus of Backus and Schenker come
I
on,
know.
and it's awesome.
He was
like,
sitting in this
Backus,
seat
great
right
guy.
here.
great guy.
dude.
I love it.
Nuggets
Schenker,
fan?
jury's still out.
Yeah, we don't know.
We
Haven't
need
met him.
Schenker to drop out of the studio.
Yeah.
All 6'4" of them. All right, let's get back to the questions. That guy says in the comments, I have no clue why the fan base is pumped on the advertising.
Because, man, it's part
this
of
is DNVR.
This
that's
is
why.
DNVR, man. Yeah, if you have to ask.
Yeah. Have the Nuggets reverted to a more vanilla form since the Memphis game, or is it just them going through a slump? If they are getting vanilla, how will games against Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Phoenix look coming up? So, I mean, this has been the overarching question, over the last couple weeks. Is this just them coasting, or are there issues
Are they
that are
chill
being
mode?
uncovered with this team? Yeah, or are they in chill mode? I mean, that Nets win made you feel a little better, right? But what's kind of your guys' verdict after that?
I mean, I think it's really simple. I think if they play like they have for the better part of March, then yeah, they're getting bounced early. That's what they're doing right now isn't good enough. That's clear. The operative question just
I mean,
becomes
losing 5 out of 6 isn't good enough?
right, and just getting away from the good habits, the good process. I don't think that a team simply forgets how to play their brand of basketball overnight. But I also was listening to Draymond Green's comments about the Houston Rockets and how quickly bad habits can be formed and set in. So you don't like to see this stretch. I do think the fundamental question is, do you think they're who we've seen in March or who we saw before that? And to me, it's the latter. I'm still pretty confident that's the case. But if they play like this, they're losing. There's no, they're not going to beat Phoenix or a Golden State or I don't know about that team, whatever, or whoever, if they're not more consistent than this.
Yeah, man. Vanilla implies that this is somehow intentional, that they're like trying to not show their hand to teams as they head into the playoffs. That's absolutely not what's happening. I mean, Michael Malone is beside himself trying to get this team to give a toot. And to me, it's just like if you're asking if they are more the team that we've seen 95% of the year or the team that we've seen 5% of the year.
Right.
We saw it last game. Like they can turn it on, and it really, honestly, just comes down to defense. And it's just like we saw in the first part of the season, where they just weren't efforting on defense enough, and they would find all the teams that played them would find the hole from not switching fast enough, blowing by the perimeter defense, all of which is just comes down to just shuffling your feet, being mindful, being communicative with all of your defensive mates to make sure you set up a perimeter. And they just were like letting people through. And then obviously you're talking about Nikola Jokic, who doesn't have a rim protection as part of his repertoire. So once they get past that perimeter defense, it's just like a problem. So
Yeah.
it's just effort, man, and they have it. They just haven't been giving it. We saw it last game, though. So
Yeah, we did, and they had the defense last game too. Like they played with an edge defensively, and the fact that they have flipped the switch defensively before already this season,
we've seen it. It's
that
there, man.
gives me some comfort that I think they can do that in the playoffs. I might be actually more concerned about the depth overall, like than the defense. I think they can turn it on defensively when they want to, and they will in the playoffs. I'm kind of worried about the depth though, because I just don't know who you can trust off the bench. And
Well, I mean, we're talking about, like what top 8 players, top 9 tops.
Yeah,
So Christian Brown you can trust, Bruce Brown you can trust.
I know you can trust those guys, but it's like, are the Nuggets just gonna go -7? In
Right.
that bench stint every single playoff game?
Right.
Like that really might be my biggest worry, to be totally honest.
There are teams I think that have better 6th through 8th guys that will be in this playoffs for sure.
Yeah, but
sure.
that's, I mean, who cares? I think we're talking about then you're pairing them with 2 of our starters at all times minimum. So that immediately raises the floor. The question was just about like, what can we expect for the rest of the season? I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty much up and down.
I think it's going to be up and down. I think against the Bucks, the 76ers, I think those games might be bangers.
I think so too, actually.
In Denver at Ball Arena, Kyle Backus probably going to be there.
Let's go.
I just think those games are going to be intense playoff atmospheres.
Yeah, I agree.
The MVP is on the line. Like those games are going to be sick. Everything else, I don't know. Everything else might be like the Detroit Pistons game.
I do feel differently about the floor though than I did. The ceiling, I can still see the best version of this team winning the West, but it's a lot easier to kind of flesh out the panic timelines in your head right now. It's a lot easier to see what it looks like if no one shows up, if they don't play defense, if Jamal isn't ready to go. So they can't play like this. There's no doubt about it. So I do feel differently about how any given game could go. But I still have some faith that they can get back to this level where the baseline and the ceiling are higher.
I don't even think it's a question. It's just, I believe if the time for concern would be if they were in desperate need of wins and they weren't getting them.
Like if they were
where
fighting
for their
playoff,
team
almost is in the Western
If they were
Conference,
fighting
were
for
in
their
that
playoff
group.
lives and we were seeing this like
Yeah.
muted, lazy effort, like then it's time to be nervous. But
Yeah, I agree.
they're really like just in a position where you can honestly like question whether or not they care. Like, I mean, truly.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Just to check in on the standings real quick. Last night, the Grizzlies and the
God.
Kings played. The Kings lost. The Grizzlies won.
Should have lost.
They should have lost. But it was actually more important that the Kings lost because the Nuggets, they're 3.5 games up on
Oh, yeah,
Memphis.
we've
They
got the
also have the
tiebreaker.
tiebreaker.
Right.
The tiebreaker with the Kings is still TBD. They play Sacramento the last game of the regular season. So the fact that the Kings lost, they're 4.5 back. I think the Kings are kind of out of it now with that loss. Denver would have to go 500.
They would have to
and
lose
the Kings would have to go
5 of 6.
undefeated. Yeah, with just 10 games left. The Grizzlies are the only team you have to worry about for the number 1 right now, and the Nuggets have the tiebreaker. So I think just
So they basically have the same distance that they have with the Kings.
yeah, it's pretty much both 4.5.
Just don't lose out, man. Just pick up a
Yeah,
couple
just please
wins.
don't lose
Yeah.
that. Would you please?
But I would, but more than that, I would like to see them carry over the good process from Brooklyn. It looked like, okay, this is what we remember, minus crunch time. So build off that and then get better in crunch time and, just get a little bit of momentum. Can't hurt you. Can't hurt you.
Let's go with that question from Miroslav because we got a couple of these about just lineups that we want to see in the playoffs, like how the Nuggets might cut down this rotation. What are going to be these playoff lineups that Denver goes to? Miroslav said, thoughts on the KCP, Brown, MPJ, Vlatko, Aaron Gordon lineup if Jokic and Jamal would stagger with the bench for several minutes after that?
I mean, who's on the one there?
You don't really have one.
Yeah.
Even
you
Bruce
don't.
Brown isn't part of that. I guess KCP. Like I can't.
We won't see that
We
because
won't see
we
that.
know there's got to be at least a Bruce Brown out there.
Yeah, I mean, Malone has stated many times he wants to have either one of Jokic or Murray on the court at any given time.
Yep.
So I would have a hard time imagining Jamal not being the one. I mean, he's saying that Jamal would come in after that. I think it would probably be Bruce Brown instead of KCP.
MPJ. MPJ is not going to stagger with the
I
bench.
agree with
Like
that,
that's just
yeah.
not going to happen. I've been wanting it all year, but I think it'd be a good move. I think it'd help the bench some, but it's just not going to happen. Like
Yeah.
he hasn't staggered all year, so I doubt we're going to see that. The big thing to look forward to in the playoffs is Aaron Gordon at the 5.
That's the one, yeah.
That's the one. The Zeke Najee minutes from a couple days ago, like that was really encouraging. Is he an absolute lock for the playoff rotation?
No.
Hell no. I still think, we could see Aaron Gordon a lot at the 5, the backup 5. That would be the one like big thing I'd look for in terms of trimming down the rotation in the playoffs.
I like KCP and AG together, but I do think in the playoffs, Malone will definitely fall back on having Jamal on the floor. And depending on the lineup around him, for as poorly as it's gone, that logic is very easy to follow. Most teams keep one of their 2 best players on the floor at all times. So I get that attempt, but how you build the lineup out around him, it'll be interesting to see. I would like to see AG probably at some point for sure.
How much do you guys think Christian Brown's going to play in the playoffs?
I would be surprised if it was a lot.
Yeah.
He's a rookie.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the beginning and the end of the sentence, right?
I still think he'll be one of the 3 guys if it's 3 guys. I don't know. It's probably like 11-ish minutes. I don't know how much he's playing, but I think he should be one of those 3 guys.
I think he is going to play in the first half.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
then maybe not play in the second half.
I can see that.
That might be the same for a guy like Zeke too. Like I could see both those.
Yeah.
Let's go to this question on Colin Gillespie. Carlos Romero asks, any insight on the whole Colin Gillespie situation in a macro sense? Looks like he won't get a chance to play this season, and it was always going to be slim. Was this always just a way to court him to come back next season?
Well, I don't know if they ever really got out in front with the messaging. He was essentially out for the season from the point of that injury. He has been working out, so I get the question. If you've been around Nuggets games, if you pay attention to the clips from practice, you've seen Colin Gillespie getting work and getting shots up.
Yeah.
So he's progressing, but you're not going to see him this season. I will say it says something that a team in both ownership and front office, where you heard terms like must-win season, championship, or bust, that they stuck with him. It would have been cold-blooded, but some teams might have simply just moved on from him right then and there.
Get another two-way player.
Get another two-way
like a
player.
Greg Whittington type.
Right. So obviously they like him to some degree and some extent.
Yeah. Look, man, if an undrafted rookie on a two-way contract breaks his leg and is out for the season, that guy's getting cut 9 out of 10
Totally.
times. This is a rare circumstance. I just think the Nuggets really like him and believe in him. Like, that's why he's still here.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, and he looked really good in summer league. He looked at least. He looked. If nothing else, he looked poised, in control. I mean, who knows what we'll actually get out of him? Like summer league rarely transfers, good or bad. But I mean, the only time we've actually seen him with the basketball, he looked good. So I'm not surprised that they're interested in seeing what they actually have in him.
He was a tremendous college point guard. He was very good. The real question is, how would he look in a much bigger and more physical and athletic league? But as far as can he play the game of basketball, the dude knows what he's doing,
Yeah, he'll be back next year, and I'm sure he'll play a lot in the G League, but maybe get some spot minutes here and there. Let's hit another break. Some more questions, and then some
hit the like.
headlines from around the NBA.
Hit the like
on the
while
other
you're
side.
at it.
Yeah, smash that like
Would you
button.
just smash it already? It's
Someone
free.
said Colin Gillespie sounds like an English Premier League player.
I mean, he does.
He really does.
It's a great name.
He really does. We couldn't get them to do a cameo read, but I am stoked to tell you about Jive Hive, Colorado's premier dispensary
They're
on
probably pissed right now.
wheels.
They're like, we're not in the studio.
I know. On wheels. Going to the dispensary is cool. You know what's cooler? Getting the weed delivered to your front door. There's a long list of reasons why that may want to be the case. And guess what? You don't have to pick one. You don't have to justify yourself to me. You just got to call Jive Hive, because Jive Hive is delivering to front doors in Aurora, Greenwood Village, Monument, Fountain, and various areas of El Paso County. That's Jive Hive, JIVEHYVE.com. Like a dispensary, except you don't have to go inside. I mean, because they don't own a building, it's the whole thing's cheaper for them, so they're going to charge you less too.
Yeah, don't go in the van.
Don't go in the van.
Any vans.
Don't
If
go
anyone
in.
invites you into a van, don't go in.
If they're asking you to come inside the van, it's not Jive Hive. Just to be very clear, they don't want you to anonymity, security, convenience, whatever your keyword is. Jive Hive are your guys. Jive Hive, don't drive. And DraftKings is America's top-rated sportsbook because of all the sweet and fun games you can play, and sometimes winning money too. What a treat!
What a treat!
What a treat. You could bet on the NBA right now. It's an official sports betting partner of DraftKings is the NBA. And new customers can bet $5 right now to get $200 in bonus bets instantly if they've bet on the NBA. Only using DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Use code DNVR when you sign up. Again, get that sweet deal. You could build a no-sweat same-game parlay. You could drop some money line bet on some March Madness underdogs.
What?
No scouting required.
Okay.
Just pick the underdog. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. You're welcome. I learned that
You're
from
welcome.
I learned that from Susie. Details or details?
Definitely details.
That's what I thought.
Who says details?
Susie says details.
Well,
Details.
she's from the bad coast.
Yeah.
Details.
The least coast.
I was looking to see if the Nuggets Wizards line was up yet. It's not. So I can't make a DraftKings pick of the week.
Pick the Nuggets anyway.
It's because the Wizards are playing.
Just take
currently.
the Nuggets
I will
money
take
line.
the Nuggets.
Nuggets money line.
Nuggets are winning tomorrow. Like I'm pretty sure.
They're winning. They're winning. They're winning.
They're going to go 3-2 on the road trip, finish it up strong. All right, we are back here on the DNVR Nuggets Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR when you sign up and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. I want to remind you guys, we have a party bus coming up Saturday.
Yeah, dude. Get on this, man.
We need to sell some tickets, guys. Come down to the DNVR bar, have some drinks, then ride to the game.
Party it up.
On the DNVR party bus with us good people.
Yeah, man. Right there, right home.
Yeah, we couldn't get a block of tickets, so you've got to buy your own ticket, and there's a link on the DNVR Nuggets Twitter where you can buy tickets. I think it's so you get a better chance of sitting together or something like that.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, we still have the party bus. It's a great time. Look, if you guys in the chat have been on the party bus, you know it's awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's fun.
what I love about the party bus is we've got like 21-year-olds and 50-year-olds just vibing out.
Yeah, they're all singing
Nuggets.
about to the window, to the wall,
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
To the
when the sweat drips off that ballerina.
nice.
Thanks, bro.
It's incredible. That's coming up Saturday. Nuggets Bucks.
Let's go together.
That's real soon.
Let's go watch
dude.
the Nuggets
Well, I'll
together.
put you in a headlock.
Yeah.
So
give
get
me a
on
little
this.
nudgy.
Check out the DNVR Nuggets Twitter. It's got a link for tickets right there. Saturday's gonna be a great game. So make sure to get on that. You're gonna be
It is.
you're gonna want to be in the house for Jokic Giannis. They only play 2 times a year. All right, let's get back to the mailbag here. I think we've got some questions about Michael Porter Jr. coming up. This is from which one are we going to here? Sure, let's go to Jordan's. I believe MPJ, he says, should average more shots per game than Jamal. How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, that's tough because Jamal has the ball in his hand. So, like he also is the one that runs the 2-man game with Nikola Jokic.
Right. But in a perfect world.
I mean, it's in a perfect world, Jamal just hits shots where at the level he's able to, and it doesn't really matter who takes more shots.
I think he could shoot more than Jamal. I don't know. I don't know if there's some magic number for the balance. but I do think they have been incorporating him more and more as the season goes.
Kale just had a violent
Are you mic'd
hiccup.
up for that? I'm just curious.
That was like a shocking and
Never heard
violent
anything
hiccup.
like
Just
that.
came- yeah, right?
I genuinely forgot my point. Yeah, he should shoot more. Porter should shoot more. I don't know about more than Jamal, but I think... And it's tough because there's a beautiful balance to what Porter's giving you as the third
man.
option that you might lose if you ask too much of, right?
Yes.
Like you don't want Porter to dribble too much. But
No,
I
you don't
do-
want him to dribble at all.
But
really.
I do think if he's open, you should give him the ball. Fair?
Yeah, MPJ needs to develop an ISO game. I don't see it happening.
See, yeah, that's actually what I was just talking about. I don't know if you want too much of that.
I don't think he does.
Yeah.
He's
He's playing perfect
the
right now.
absolute prototypical play style for Michael Porter Jr. can be seen from one Klay Thompson. He should go a whole game where he dribbles 9 times but makes 12 threes.
Yeah.
You know, like he's just open. He's shot ready. He's able to rise to the occasion. Oh, bring one over. Something.
What
just
is this?
A
Nice.
special
Delivery to the bar?
just arrived.
Man, I haven't seen a shirt this nice since.
We have actually never seen it. Period. But we just got our order in. I know a lot of people are asking.
Oh,
here they are. They look crispy.
I'll pull that
It's
left,
here, man. Not since Wilt. It's
baby.
finally here, baby.
Ooh.
It's finally here.
Looks
Just
good.
arrived. Shipment's going out today. Mitchell's life about to be ruined. A lot of folding in Mitch's future. About to be ruined.
He said shipment's going out today, and Mitch was like,
Wow. Shipments, the process of shipping starting right now.
man, the shirts look awesome.
They do.
But people
Very
have been
exciting.
asking. We have them in. To go back to Porter, I feel like the best version of his game was against the Nets, man.
Yeah.
Listen to the shot distribution Denver had. Porter, 18 shots. Murray, 19 shots. Most of those were in the first quarter. Jokic, 12 shots. Aaron Gordon, 9 shots. KCP, 7 shots. I feel like that was a pretty good distribution now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really, you're looking for balance. You're looking for balance in the starting lineup.
Yeah,
you know?
man.
I think they should, maybe AG's a little bit lower and KCP even lower than that, but rather than more than one or the other, I just think you want to feel like they all touch the ball
Well,
and got
it's-
shots up.
I mean, so much of sports is just getting somebody to look left and then you go right. And you just want to have, it might be Jamal, it might be MPJ, it might be AG. It's deadly from anywhere. Whoever you leave open, they're going to make you pay. And so if they, really it just comes down to there's not like a prototype for who gets the number of shots. It's like who has the best shots available to
That's a
them.
great point.
They
Right.
just take it. Like
Right.
if Jamal is being doubled and covered up, like lo and behold, like MPJ is then open, so he should make those shots and kind of make them pay for it. It's just the more options you have, the more unguardable you become.
Yeah, we talked about this in a roundtable that we put up this morning on the DNVR. But I want to get your
Players
take,
for tomorrow.
D-line.
We should get Mr. Merchel. What are they telling us about Mr. Nugget? Should be in
this week for Mr. Nugget.
shortly. Yeah,
Should be in this week.
Should be in this week. You should have. Yeah, you should probably. And it sounds like you're coming on the bus. We could probably hand deliver it to you before the bus if need be. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we did that live.
Did it live, baby.
That's how
Did
we
live.
do it.
It's a mailbag.
Well, we talked about this in the roundtable this morning. What's been your favorite part about Michael Porter's season? Because, I mean, there's been so many things, and I feel like his ascension is one of the coolest stories of this regular season. Is there any part that stands above the rest?
This is time for a vote love sonnet, please. Vote. You've got the floor.
Yeah, my favorite part is the pressure it's all come under. And I think starting last season, Porter was tabbed as one of the swing factor players of the league, right?
Yeah.
If Denver's going to go on a title run, they need him to be good. That's been the case for 2 years. Then what happened last year? He goes down, misses most of it. So the pressure coming into this season was pretty high. Then the team labels it a title or bust season. Then the team gets off to a slowish start, and then he hurts his heel. So he comes back, and there's not a lot of runway. They need him to be good. They need him to be good right away, and they need him to be good in the ways that they've asked him to be. And he did not waste any time. And to the point where he's peaking now at a point in the season when a lot of guys are struggling.
Yeah,
When
it does feel like he's peaking right now.
When the coach is saying things like, we're going to learn a lot about guys in the locker room. Well, what we're learning about Porter is that he's a gamer. So there's a lot to love about it. But for me, it's that it all came in the pressure cooker. And for the most part, he's passed all these tests.
Yeah, for me, it's just the maturity. He's just figured out, where he is most effective, and he's not been a distraction in any way. He's found a way to be very seamlessly integrated into the Jamal and Jokic heavy offense that has been so deadly and so reliable for the Nuggets over so many years. But he's found a way. It was just like, his name came up a lot when we were talking about the Bone situation, because Michael Porter Jr. had like some like real petulant sort of attitude and behavior early on in his career, and it wasn't, and that would always be then followed up by him being out for some stretch and being like pretty unreliable, just like this idea of a great player, but like, and you would see it in little spurts. But Michael Porter Jr. has figured out how to play in this specific offense in such a way that is like so, it just dovetails in so nicely. And I just love to see the way that he is conducting himself. He's like turned himself into such a professional. It's amazing. And it's, you just kind of hope you see this from so many players, like them being able to get past the idea of being the big guy on the team, which he obviously has been his entire life.
Yeah.
And finding that perfect balance of how he can fit in and how he can be deadly. And you just watch his confidence now growing. So, I mean, I just love that. I just love watching him turn into a much more complete basketball player.
Yeah. I mean, that final note, he's a complete player now.
Yeah.
He can kill you from three. He's got the mid-range. He gets to the hoop now. Like, his offensive game is just complete. And we spend so little time talking about Michael Porter's defense on post-game shows this season, because we just don't even notice, like, him getting targeted or, trying to get exposed, because teams aren't going at him as much because he's a better defender. We don't even talk about it, really.
In fact, some of these nights over this last month, the guys that no one on the roster has been able to stop, like a Fred VanVleet, Porter's had as much success as anyone, right? When they did try it. So I don't think he's going to make any all defense teams or anything, but that is a huge storyline to this season. And then Jamal helped me figure out the framing of this. He's been so good on the catch, because him spacing the floor is ludicrous. You're trying to figure out what Jamal and Jokic are doing, and the guy on the other end of the floor is Porter, right? And so if his decision-making off the catch is solid, he's either hitting that shot because you collapse too hard. If you didn't collapse hard enough or untimely, Jokic is scoring. And if you somehow scramble out there like a madman, these days he's blowing right past your closeout and he's scoring at the rim. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close to unguardable right now. He's been so good.
And just like one other point, like there were a couple games in this last week plus where he got benched for some period of time, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, it's just
he didn't pout about it. It wasn't like he was like, all right, like he was grumpy about it, but it's like it didn't affect the next game, or it wasn't a storyline. So I love that.
I love that too. We did get a couple more questions right after that about just Porter's minutes. Like, how many minutes do we think he's going to play in the playoffs?
Apparently, Rob Sheldon thinks it's a bad take to say he was petulant. He was. He would pout. Petulant means like acting like a child in some ways. Like he's just grown. Like he called out the offense. It doesn't matter if he was right. That's not how you handle things like that. You don't call
especially
out,
when you're like a rookie.
When you're, of course, like that's not playing like a professional. That's playing like a child. So
you also heard a lot of things about him coming out of the draft in the Mizzou days. But I think to the ultimate point you were making about him, that stuff has not factored into his career at all in these, as it's matured, as he's matured.
Yeah. He's averaging 29 minutes per game this season. That's definitely got to go up in the playoffs. Like,
for sure.
For as well as he's played and how well-rounded and complete his game has become, I still feel like there's more you can tap into with Michael Porter, and that's why the players are going to be so fascinating for him, because, like, what can he do with more minutes? Where's his efficiency going to go? Like, can he be relied upon? I never get the feeling like Michael Porter is tired. I feel like he never gets tired during games. I just don't feel like he expends a ton of energy just with what his play style is.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's definitely more minutes you can tap into.
He never plays over 30 minutes. So.
I don't think he gets tired.
Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm hoping to change in the playoffs. And it's not so much like, about the staggering. Is it just play all these guys more, and Porter can just stay on the floor for longer. I think I really like the idea of him being a bigger part of the third quarters when so often they kind of get away from that good process anyway. Mm-hmm. He is just add water for offense sometimes. And so when things break down, like I wish they would ride that hand a little more, play him a little longer in the third. But yeah, I do think he has to play more in the playoffs.
For sure.
Yeah. I do think a lot of it has been Michael Malone and the Nuggets just preserving him.
Yes,
Yeah,
I couldn't agree
totally.
more. Couldn't agree more.
But you can also look at that and say, well, Jamal Murray's playing like 40 minutes.
That's the strange part
on
about
some
it.
nights.
That's the strange part.
I don't think it totally applies there. But with Porter, I think they have been extra careful. And it's worked.
I was going to say, maybe it's paid off, right? Because he
It
looks
seems
more
like it has.
athletic and healthier every day.
Like you said, he's kind of peaking right now.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. Let's go to this question about Aaron Gordon. This is from Phil. Why is AG such a bad second free throw shooter? Most guys who are around 50 to 60% miss the first, make the second. I'd be willing to bet AG's percentage is better on the first than on the second. I just want to talk about like the Nuggets free throw shooting here because I really don't want us to have to talk about this in the playoffs. But like the Nuggets are a bottom 6 free throw shooting team on the season.
Yeah.
They're not a great free throw shooting team. They're at 75% on the season as a team. I just hope it's not an issue in the playoffs. I think the good news is that your best players, your big 3 are great free throw shooters.
Yeah, exactly.
Elite free throw shooters. KCP also an elite free throw shooter. Aaron Gordon is really the one guy who gets a ton of minutes who you feel shaky with at the line.
And he is their most at the rim finisher, minus Jokic, who doesn't get those calls anyway. He's going to be that. He is going to have to take some clutch free throws.
Oh, yeah.
So that is, people have been asking about it all season. It has been the sneaky little elephant in the room. I think
Sneaky
little elephant, as they tend to be, sneaky and little. I think Wynn framed it the right way, though.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hope we don't talk about this at all.
I know. Practice them before you go to bed every night.
The thing is,
You live on a
He
basketball
does
court.
live in a
He
basketball
lives
He does.
in, or does he live in or on?
Oh,
He lives in a basketball facility.
yeah.
in a facility.
Next to a court.
He lives next to a basketball court. AG, no sleep until we hit 80 free throws every night.
Let's see. Do we have anything else here, Kale? Do we have any other burning questions you feel like we should get to here? Or is that it? That's about it. Okay. I did want to hit a couple headlines from around the association.
Oh, let's go.
Before we got out of here on this Tuesday. Again, thank you guys for the questions.
Great question.
Really appreciate it. Great show today. We had
Oh, my God.
freaking Bacchus on the show.
All-star
Kevin Backus.
lineup. All-star lineup.
Yeah.
At Bacchus, again, who is decidedly not MPJ, but is...
No, he's not Jamal.
But just in Latin, never MPJ.
Okay. Yeah.
MPJ is never Bacchus.
Yes.
Sometimes Shanker. But turns out Shanker is Jokic.
By the way, the more I learn about Shanker, the more curious I am. Is that a name or a nickname, and where did he get it?
He's just like a terrible soccer player.
Oh, I was thinking like Prison Shanks.
Oh,
Because he's
I
like
was
a big
thinking
6'4"
like more of a
guy.
sports reference.
Yeah. But
I just pulled out a little note from the couch. I thought maybe another host left a note for us, but it's a Wi-Fi password.
no, man.
I could actually use that. Guys, did you see this headline about Jaylen Brown today?
Yeah, I did. I
on The
noticed
Ringer?
that one. Yeah, I caught
I
that
put
one.
this in the rundown for Brendan Vogt to comment on, but doesn't sound like Jaylen Brown's future in Boston is secure.
Let's talk. Let's do Stephen A's most pressure to win a title list, because the Boston Celtics are very high on that list, fellas. First of all, you have to factor in the part where Jason Tatum very clearly just wants to be a Laker more than anything in the world. Probably the only Celtics player to wear a Lakers armband while playing. Yes, it was for Kobe, but he did do that. So there's that element of it, right? And remember, this was supposed to be an iron curtain reign of them going back to Ainge. First time he stuffed the coffers. How many titles will the Celtics win? So far, it's 0. I am curious if it stays 0. Jaylen Brown, not really sure what the energy is in Boston in terms of do they want him around? Does JT want him around?
Oh,
and
boy.
for how long? I don't know, man. If I'm Jaylen Brown, Jaylen, just consider this.
He's watching. Just speak to him directly.
Consider this. There are contenders that love ball movement. There are contenders that love the right play.
What?
There are contenders that have built their identity around clutch time execution.
Are you lobbying for a lineup of Brown, Brown, and Brown?
We can't handle that.
I'm just planting a seed because
Brown Town population 3.
the current situation sounds tough, man. The current
So we could have a lineup with green, brown, brown,
Jeez.
brown, and white. I love it.
oh man.
What if that was the bench?
I'm not
stagger
even
next
thinking
year?
about
Holy
the Nuggets.
smokes,
I'm not thinking
dude.
about. I'm looking out for Jaylen Brown, and I just think
Wow.
I think Jaylen should look out for himself and start thinking about the future.
Jaylen, I know you're in the comments. Just let us know what you think about that.
This was in an article on The Ringer, and he was asked if he wants to stay in Boston long term, and he said, "quote I don't know as long as I'm needed."
Okay.
I also saw that he had to get on a call with Brad Stevens and Jason Tatum around the time of the KD trade talks because he knew that JT and KD were close. He just wasn't sure. He just wanted to check, make sure the energy was where he thought it was.
Yeah.
All I'm saying, I mean, I don't know. That sounds like a tough situation to work in.
I just wanted to let Vogt ISO that.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that. Clearly, that was some
Poor
some East
Jaylen
I
Coast-
gotta
Brown.
let him ISO like that once a week. Like
Yeah,
he
he has
needs that
to.
once a week.
He either does it here for you guys or in our Slack channel, but
Or to
usually
his girlfriend.
Usually both. Usually both.
I think it's better to do it here. In other news, Shams Charania has said today that Karl Towns and Anthony Edwards might be back as soon as tomorrow.
What?
The Timberwolves are getting reinforcements, guys.
Oh, man.
And I just wanted to bring this up to say, what a shitty season Minnesota has had, man. Like, that is
Brutal.
an absolute lost season.
And you know who they're
The
better than? You know who they're
Timberwolves.
better than? The Lakers.
Yeah,
They
they've
have a
had
better
a
season
season
than
from
the
hell,
Lakers.
and they're still better
What
than
if they
them.
win their play-in games? That'd be crazy, man. They've had a really, really rough go. But
Towns has been out for like 4 months. He's been out forever. They
Sound-
don't even really know if that Rudy Gobert and Towns pairing can be good.
That's the thing.
I feel
They-
like it probably isn't, but they don't really know.
That's the thing, man. They never even logged data on that. They ironically needed Rudy the whole time because they were down a big. But then the bigger question of can those two bigs play together? Who knows?
Unanswered.
We'll find out in the play-in games.
Yeah.
That's
So I
a
just
rough.
thought that was interesting. Maybe, Minnesota can make a little bit of a run here. And then the final piece of news that I saw this morning, Dylan Brooks is in the news.
No way.
Dylan Brooks is in the news. He got another technical foul. He is suspended again. And then he was asked about it. He's gotten fined $248,000 this season.
I feel like you got to try to do that. You have to make an active
a
effort.
crazy amount.
Dylan Brooks says about it's just paper, he says. You know what the worst part is? That it's not even paper. It's just numbers on a screen. Well, when was the last time you had, let me see, 204? You think he carries around $248,000 in paper in his wallet?
Probably not.
That's a good point. He just keeps paying in cash. They're like, dude, stop doing that. We're just gonna take it out
I
of your
would do
check.
that. Wouldn't
Yeah.
you do that? I would do that. I would pay my fine in pennies every time.
One of his, I think someone's done that. I have to double check that
Yeah.
in some sport. One, whatever. I don't care. I forgot.
Are you guys
Wow.
over Dylan Brooks, or do you like Dylan Brooks?
Oh no, that's what I was gonna say. I don't like Dylan Brooks. He pushed the cameraman. That was so lame.
That was a bitch move.
That was just too much, dude.
But
Dylan Brooks-
I do think Dylan Brooks is kind of good for the league.
yeah.
Dylan Brooks.
He's good for the league's pocketbooks.
Dylan Brooks, Rob, is
Giving money
quite
back.
petulant. That's
charity.
a petulant
That's
player.
a petulant figure.
Yeah.
He's pretty funny though, man.
I
Well, he's
kinda like
funny
him.
because he's
I
like
kinda
such
like
a-
the role he plays.
But he's like such a cartoon character, and he's also
Yeah.
like such a fake tough guy.
Yeah, but the best
Yeah.
part about him is that like
do we
Dra-
really have any real tough guys though?
Draymond.
Yes, like Steven Adams, real tough guy.
Okay, we have like
Dylan
3.
Brooks. There are lots of real tough guys, but the
Wynn's
tough
right.
guys are quiet. It's like
Yeah.
It's like the center on the Bucks. What is his name? That's the brother.
Brook Lopez.
Brook Lopez. Tough guy. There's a lot of tough guys that just like don't make a lot of noise, but like the smaller
that's a good
guys
point.
are very loud.
That's a good point. All right. Just wanted to hit that. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I think that's... Oh, we do have Super Chats. Super Chats on this fine Tuesday.
Oh, the real ones. The real ones.
Chiming in. This is Nico. Does it feel like we have gone away from the two-man game or even just giving Jokic the ball in general? Is it us? Is it the opposition's defense?
It's a good question.
I think they've gone away from it a little bit.
They have down the stretch.
Yeah.
They absolutely have.
I feel like they have. I mean, Jokic is still getting the ball a ton. I don't think that's gone away. I just think the two-man game is
I agree with that.
not as prevalent as it's been.
The two-man game is always pulled out when the times are darkest and they just like need to start operating. And I feel like this could hint back to that. Are they being vanilla? Like maybe they don't want to give teams any more data on how that two-man game operates. But I mean, I don't know, maybe Jamal just isn't up to it. I have no idea. It does feel that way though.
I think in the playoffs, you'll see it resurge.
But there has been a little bit of the prevent defense, just ball denial defense, swarm when he catches, the Nets when they went small when Claxton was out.
Oh, I think teams are defending Jokic now better than they ever have.
I agree with that.
I think the game plan that's been developed against him is the best defensive game plan that we've seen.
Right, which is to say, like, it's all of these one-off games that then if you were to face that same defensive lineup in a series, Jokic would just find ways to eviscerate it.
Right,
Probably,
you would think.
Probably.
Yeah. One more super chat here. Earlier in the season, believe there was a AG KCP stagger that seemed to work defensively. What's your guys' thoughts on pulling Jamal Murray from the second unit, rolling with Bruce, AG, KCP, CB, Jeff/Vlatko, Zeke?
Dude, a lot of Bruce Brown erasure in these.
I know. The chat not loving Bruce.
Bruce
Brown.
is in that one, though. Bruce is in that one.
So,
Where?
I agree.
Bruce first.
They
He's the first name.
Yeah, first name. Yep.
That's not erasure. That's he's focusing
Featured,
on it.
yeah. Featured heavily.
They have gone to that AG KCP stagger a couple times. They've gone to it out of like injury and foul trouble.
Right.
It's always worked.
I love it.
I think it does work. That's a playoff move for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like so hard to even speculate about this stuff. Like, I don't know what these decisions are. I don't know, like, what. I gotta always feel like there's like a larger, like exploration in play. But I literally half the time I'm like, what?
I know you're over rotation talk. I
really am because I don't think it's it. I think we're at a point where it's ultimately not going to be something that is, we're even shown or given in the playoffs.
And also, like, we give it way more energy than like it's actually going to result in.
Yeah.
Like the results, they don't come close to the amount we've talked about it. Like it just. Yeah.
There is a little bit of like an in hindsight thing. I might have liked to see that look throughout the season more, but even then, if you're trying to keep Jamal and AG and guys fresh for the playoff, well, I guess they didn't do it with Jamal. If you're trying to keep guys fresh for the playoffs, it's tough to drop the rotation that small. But I like that look because it has an identity. They can defend.
Yeah.
They can get stops and they can run.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in, guys. That's all the time we got for today. We'll be back tomorrow. Nuggets, they have another game.
Let's go, dude. Are they still playing?
We're back in action tomorrow against the Wizards.
And they can't hurt us.
When there's 2 days off, like I see you trying to give an impassioned point-based end. When there's 2 days off, I don't know what to do with myself. I forget who I am. I lose my passion. I lose my focus.
Do you answer mailbag questions?
I answer mailbag. Take us out there.
We'll talk to you guys.
Let's go.
Forget how it ends.